This is a message of love. I don't want to forget what this whole thing is about. All of it. All of it. It's so much bigger than I ever imagined. This is so much bigger than just me. And religion and spirituality and you know, and war and sex and drugs and you know, families and love and life. And the battle of the sexes and like, as soon as my friend said, you got the whole universe in your belly. And I'm like, oh my God, is that what the fuck this is? Because it's intense and it's insane. And it's like everything all at once. God told me that I would be in a season of very intense healing if I opted to go through this. And so one of the things that I had to agree to was work on forgiving absolutely anyone involved, because I don't know who's doing what or who's responsible for what, or, you know, like, so I've been working through that. And at some point it became very clear to me that, and nobody would tell me anything. Of course, I'm telling people, I'm crying, I'm saying, I'm terrified right now. I'm terrified. Like, I know something is going on. And the fact that I'm living means that somebody else might be dying. And I'm fearing for your lives. I'm crying to these people who are supposed to be, I'm supposed to be like terribly afraid of, like I'm not worried about me so much anymore. I'm scared somebody's coming for you. And of course, nobody wants to tell me anything. There's nothing's going on. Well, I'm not an idiot. So I write this crazy tearful letter to my bishop. And I'm hoping, Bishop, I'm making this video for you. So I'm hoping that you get, that obviously that you get this, and you, like, because this is a crazy place to be. I'm making this tearful video. Like, these are still people that I love and respect. I never asked to be a messenger of God. You know, like, I'm not trying to claim any kind of, you know, religious authority. I'm not trying to, you know, I'm just a pissed off person that like God showed up and was like, I went insane because I had feelings of love and respect for somebody, for a man, and I didn't know how to do that. And it like drove my world insane and sent me running back to God. And God was like, listen, let me show you some things. And we're going to heal some things, and we're going to learn some things. And one of the first things we're going to do is work on how you're dealing with men, because that's a trigger and target. And God told me that the only way I was going to survive this was to look for him everywhere, to look for love everywhere, to find, like, and so I did hard. I drowned myself in spirituality things and just loving everybody, even the people that you know were abusive towards me and cruel towards me, and it's a really hard place to be, because you're supposed to be learning about self-respect and not letting people abuse you. But at the same time, you know, God is like, well, you know, here are all the reasons that people act insane. Your job's not to figure out why they're acting insane, but here are some of the things that happen. And one of those things was that, like, hey, when you're introduced to a person, place, or situation that is, like, in essence unconditional love, it's gonna draw out anything. It's gonna trigger everything inside of you that's not that, and you're gonna go insane. And I wrote this article, and I was like, no wonder I was acting all fucking crazy. I couldn't even understand why I was behaving the way I was. I was just out of control, and I know what it looks like. God's like, here's what was happening. So when I see other people acting out of sorts and crazy, I'm like, well, and then just the things that are in my heart towards people are like, you know, that goes way against the grain, you know, and like all of this is insane. Okay. So I go to the Spot Coffee and I write this insane, tearful, like I sent you this email, and I'm like bawling my eyes out the entire time I'm sitting at a coffee shop. And all I wanted to know was, like, there are people that could die for this, that I don't think should. I don't like that people are, you know, held in positions where they're forced to do things, and then, like, that thing becomes a fear over their head forever. Something people can use to blackmail them, that having to face the fact that, my grandparents were CIA, and some of my own family. I watched a 5-hour documentary on YouTube about Freemasons and the contracts that people have to sign to not speak on anything. Yeah, we're gonna hang you upside down by your balls and take your guts out of your stomach and shove them through your nose if you tell anybody about and you have to sign this contract. And once you sign that contract, you're bound to that contract. And then you start abusing people and doing awful things. What if you stop and say, I don't really want to do this? But now you're bound by this contract, and if the world finds out that you had any hand in this, you will be shamed and devastated forever. So now they hold you, and that's how they hold you. And frankly, I was like, these people were paid to kill me. And, if they haven't been able to do that, then anybody that's under contract should be set free. You should not be able to be held to a contract that, for what? Why? Because they didn't fucking get their job done? That's not my fault. And that's not their fault either. Don't go and turn around and say, well, you were under contract. Well, guess what? That person should be set free and not held accountable to that contract. And that's just how I felt about that. And my crazy ass was high as fuck on drugs. And I didn't know what was happening to me. But Christians don't believe in, past lives. So I'm having these weird visions and dreams. I'm like, what is this? I've done a lot of drugs in my life, and I've never had anything like this happen. Anything. I'll tell you, the meth in Arizona was 10 times the meth here. And I've never experienced anything like this. Yes, I've done acid and mushrooms and ecstasy, and I've experimented with things throughout my life. So for somebody to be like, no, you're just having a hallucination. I'm like, yeah, well, these drugs aren't that good. And so I make this plea to God, and I remember asking him, how do I level this playing field? Because I have no idea what I'm messing with. And God reminds me, hey, you have this video, this living while trying to cop a feel video. This was for whatever reason, this was the only Sunday that I actually ordered a video copy of the message. I remember thinking, let me just grab that. I might need that someday. And it was I have one from you, and I have one video that I ordered from Bernie's ministry when somebody else is speaking there, and they're both very, very prophetic. But I watched this that morning, and then whatever happened, that night was a total setup. It was a total setup, and I just knew that God was there, and I heard God say, trust me, submit to him. Because this is not anything I would have ever done in my entire life, ever. So something I'm aware that something happened there. I'm aware that I don't know exactly what happened. I don't know how raping somebody on a video and selling it online, I don't know how that translates to satanic sacrifice. I don't understand these things. I do know that apparently I was supposed to be sacrificed, and God's like, there's something here that they don't know though, so don't worry about that. And sacrificing your anus for public humiliation is it's almost like here, you guys lay down your sacrifice to your gods, and I'll put mine down on the altar and see whose petition burns up, whose petition is accepted by God. I don't know what that means for myself or the rest of the world, but I know that something happened there. And God was like, here, listen to this video. And then we're working on some things. This is going to just go with the flow and do that. And I listened to this message, and there's a man here that I really respect and really admire. And a lot of sensitive things that, people are not allowed to see me vulnerable and I will always admire and respect you. I will always see you as an authority, as a, Just being a man doesn't make you any less of a man of God. Not in my eyes. In fact, God is like, I'm going to show you some things here. And this is all for learning experience. It would be nice to have you be like, wow, Bridget, you kicked some ass there. Because I'm kicking some ass, and I like don't want to think that we're on opposite sides, but God is like, no. You are a child of the law of one. Duality exists, but it exists for a reason. And live with it, deal with it, learn how to manage, because we're all going to heaven. And then I found that scripture in, after all that happened, I found the scripture in, I'm a little nervous. I'm just like, my mind is all over the place. But basically saying that, in the fullness of time, God's plan is to unite all things unto himself. Because I'm like, I know about, demons and godly, like, angels and, like, things. I don't know where the hell the aliens came from. And I'm like, wait a minute, this Bible that I got from seminary is like, they're talking about Greek gods and goddesses, and I don't know anything about these things, but I'm getting messages that the devil might be my twin flame. And there's a file on my phone that is supposedly stalking me and has something to do with the dark web. And the title is It's Not Fair. And I'm high as heck one day reading about the king of Tyre. And that happened years ago. And all of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute, my this whole twin flame thing, this whole like king of spouse thing, like my twin's the devil and I'm never going to be able to do, and I'm like, that's not fair. And then I like thought about the name, somebody knew this, and I'm like, is that why they named the file that? So I'm like, oh, no, my God is bigger than that. Dear God, you say nothing is impossible. I want to see the greatest act of unconditional love ever. The greatest one I can think of is to open the doors to Lucifer, the devil himself, and allow an opportunity for repentance and allow them to come home to love. And that's the craziest thing in the world, but I think big, because when people say go to the throne, like petition heaven, like, okay, God, here I come. I will ask big. I will think big. Why? Because now I'm like seeing for myself, like, he is not playing, dude. He's not playing at all. So part of me almost started feeling sorry for some of these Christian people that were taking advantage of me and trying to screw with me. Like, no, God, the same God you have been preaching about for years, really loves me. And the Bible tells me so. But he is not playing around. Anyway. So after all of that happened, this whole weird, twin flame thing, and like, just, it's, there's a lot of mind games. Obviously, you know better than I do what's going on, because, you're the expert. A theological mastermind. A short little Puerto Rican dude. They got no respect from Buffalo for doing big things. Got no respect from a congregation that, said they wanted to do big things. And here I am, and I'm like, I'm just this little person. I'm a drunk of a woman. I'm beating up my husband. I don't respect men. I don't have anybody, like, but my heart is like, wow, I'm feeling this man. Something about Brian dying. Something about Brian. I've lost a lot of friends. I've had a lot of grief, but I barely knew this kid. And I just knew that we went on that retreat, and he was talking about feeling suicidal. When Dan and I dropped him off at home, I gave him a hug and I said, listen, there's people who are, depending on you to get to a certain place at a certain time to do what God has for you to do. And they're depending on you to be there. So, like you're here for a reason. You're here because you're supposed to be here. We love you, And then there was a time at church that, like, you had called a bunch of us up to the altar and you paired us up, and we were praying over each other. And I was with Brian, and he started praying over me, and I started praying over him. And then he dies, and I don't want to go to this funeral. But something about this is hitting me in a way that I wasn't expecting, and I just kept hearing, you should just go. Be a part of your church group and just go. You're part of a community. Just go. I know you feel like an outcast. I know you don't feel like you fit in. But just go. And you were the first face that I saw. And just the way that you looked at me and just hugged me and I don't know why that was such a big deal. Because it's some weird day I was just doing dishes at my house, at my apartment with Dan, and I'm just doing dishes, and all of a sudden I don't know why I was thinking weird thoughts, and something came in my head oh, Dan could be cheating on me, and I'm like, well, I could always call his work and ask for him, and something in my brain was like, no, they would always lie for him, whatever. I was having suspicions about Dan cheating on me, and then he calls me right as I'm thinking this, and cracks some joke, and I was like, oh well, I could just call you for it at work, and he's like, yeah, they could always lie for me. What? And I hang up the phone and I'm standing there like what? And then all of a sudden I saw in my head, I saw in my mind that altar call where I was praying over Brian. And there was they were mocking me. They're laughing. That kid fucking died anyway. Look what good that did for you. That was I was like, ha ha ha. We could just go into church. That kid died. Your prayers for him didn't matter. Nothing you do matters. Then I recognized, I sensed that this is between the conversation I just had with Dan and that, something's up. I've been going through these things, these kinds of things my whole life, and nobody will tell me why or what or how or what this is. And it just, something really crazy intensified all of that. And I don't know what all of this is. The people know. You guys know. Apparently you guys have known a long time. So I'm not here to be angry. I do want some understanding, though. I do want to have a sense of just some basic knowledge. Because in this message, the living while trying to cop a feel message, there was a part that you said something about God really wants you to know that He cares for you. And I've spent the last 3 years doing all kinds of weird research and trying to learn about a lot of things, and I came across some things that were really very disturbing to me. I'm like, what am I looking at right now? Is this what I fucking think it is? Excuse my language. A Christian counselor said that I'm, swearing a lot and cursing a lot because I have some serious, deep-rooted anger issues. And I'm just letting it go. I know I'm gonna have to clean it up. I'm God is working on me with that. It's not something that I'm, not mindful about. And this counselor was like, no, you're fine. You just, let me tell you that is, this is the root cause of that. And you gotta deal with that. So I'm working on processing some anger issues, but just the situation altogether, But when I heard that, I saw some things, and I there was a couple of names on a list that were the same last name as yours. I'm like, this is really disturbing. Is this the reality of the situation? Were these loved ones of yours? Did you have people in your family sacrificed at the hands of this city? Because my heart just broke. My heart just broke. And I don't have anybody to talk to. I'm scared to talk about these things because I should be dead right now. Anybody who's even attempted to speak out the way I have been, there's no reason I should be alive except for God Himself. So one night, it was just fun looking up, Greek gods and goddesses on Wikipedia, and they threaten me. That's like, it's very subtle, very, psychological shit. And, they fly under the radar because there can't be any kind of, proof that, who threatened you? That never happened. Blah, 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 blah. So they threaten to invade my house. They get me scared to be in my house. I'll run to a hotel and spend all my money in a hotel, and then I'm broke. And I don't ever know if these are credible threats, or it's like I sense something's happening, and I sense like, and there's nobody to explain to me what's going on, what's happening, and not even just in the city, but in the world. Something happened when the war started. Something happened with, something was definitely happening this night, because I was looking up Greek gods and goddesses, and then somehow, you just follow link to link, and I'm like, it goes to like, the next thing I know, I'm looking at a list of a lot of names of Puerto Rican people. And I can't record everything because people are stalking my phones and hacking everything. So I'm like, what am I looking at here? I don't understand what this is. Like a lot of names of Puerto Ricans, something, and in the other video that I posted from the class about the priests, the prophets, and the kings, you were talking about cultural, we're talking about cultural things that I didn't understand. I'm a white girl, but I did grow up in group homes where I was the minority. And, there are certainly differences that I noted between me and, the Black people and the Puerto Rican people that I lived with. I definitely noticed that family is a lot stronger, extended, more tight, more knit. That our family, white people are not like that. Dude, my entire family has been doing this to me since birth, apparently. Like, we don't have those same kind of connections. So for me to be like, oh, my sister tried to kill me, But I stop and I think, like, if these were your nephews or whatever relation, and they might not even be related to you. I'm sure your last name is probably popular among the Hispanic community. So this may not have anything to do with you at all. But I stopped and I thought for a second, like, if somebody senselessly murdered somebody in your family, it would be a lot different. Because you guys really, respect that. And, you hold those, like cultural people hold those bonds a lot tighter than we do. And then it's like, well, is he involved in this? Or is it the woman? Is she and I'm all over the place, because there's a lot of here's a box of bullets, and half of these are blanks, but there's a couple of real ones scattered in there somewhere. So there's people doing dumb stuff, not realizing that they're being framed for murder and rape that they didn't do. And I don't know who is who out here, or what is what. So I get this message, and so I'm looking at Greek gods and goddesses, and it goes to and then there's the list of Puerto Rican people, and then there's goes to Rome and England and all this stuff that I can't what, and then I come across this. I'm gonna show you what I'm looking at here. Okay. Mind you, I'm finding this as I'm in a taxi cab on the way to a hotel, because I think that somebody's coming to threaten my life. I can tell something is in, and there's little pictures on my, people are posting pictures on Facebook and things that there's no solid proof to say I'm being threatened. So I don't know if this is real or not, but I'm feeling some vibes, and it's not the first time it's happened. So Padilla was arrested. This broke my heart. This sent me into a place where I am very extremely disturbed. And I spent the night in the hotel crying, okay? Because when we had seminary, the one class that I took with Sharita, where she explained about Ishmael and Isaac, and that Ishmael and Isaac were brothers, and that Ishmael, were the Muslims, and and all of these things, like all of a sudden, like my worldview like changed, and I knew this piece of information, and like, I don't know. I just fucking love everybody. Okay. So one day I'm running around. I'm happy. I'm excited. I see a friend of mine and I give him a hug, and I see he's standing with a guy with a pizza place, and I give him a hug, and I'm like, yeah, God bless you guys. And I recognize, okay, oh, you're Middle Eastern. Well, in the event that you're Muslim, like I greet you in the bloodlines of Ishmael, his brother, and this man like stopped. And like we've got t-shirts on, it's summertime, like he got goosebumps all up his arms, and his eyes well up, and a tear, like he cries a tear. He's like, thank you for that. It's like, my mom used to, every night when my mom would put me to bed, she would read us the story about Hagar and Ishmael. And I just never realized that, like, the impact that person had. He was like that this matters. For some reason, this matters. And it was so heavy on my heart. It was so heavy on my heart. And all of a sudden, it's like, I find this thing about, I'm not even going to read it. I'm not going to read it, please. Like, I can't. Because it's like, I can't understand what I'm reading here. I can't understand why this man would be tormented this badly for so long. And now I'm like, well, is everything going, did this man die? Like, is that why everything's like, what does this person have in relation to me? Because what I'm saying is like, and I'm learning these things about energy harvesting. That you could purposely keep somebody alive on kidney machines and pumping their lungs just to torture and torment them for energy harvesting. And I was doing some reading, and I found something that said that like the way that Christians are waiting for Jesus to come, the Muslims believe that Jesus is coming on a camel and Muhammad is going to be on a donkey, and they're going to be together when they come back. And then all of a sudden, like, is that their Muhammad? Is that their Jesus? The fact that I've never heard a word about this man spoken, name spoken, there's like, I'm afraid to ask. And then Adam's, all these questions about where I come from, and connections to like fucking like people that do really, really bad, awful things. They hate Christians because Christians were terrible. The Crusades, like, when I was 17 years old, I went to church at on a church on the east side. The woman I went, it's all black church. Gethsemane was my mom. I had black mamas, they raised me, and I was always the only white person there. I didn't care, like whatever, And her pastor's wife told her that I was gonna do some kind of missionary work, and I laughed her in the face. Like, I used to go to Christian camp when I was a kid, And they used to talk about how the missionaries would go into these cannibalistic countries and, try to convert them to Christianity. And like you learn about like the Trail of Tears, and you learn about how Christians like they did awful things. But, now you're dealing with it. It's just the nature of man itself, under whatever religion, under any religion. The nature of man is nasty. I just never knew it was this bad. I never knew it was this bad. The things that I'm reading that were done to this man are like, there is hatred. I fucking hate reading this. Why did this happen? Why did nobody talk about this? Why doesn't anybody know? It matters. It matters. And if that happened to you, I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry. I love you. I don't want anybody to hurt you or think badly of you. I don't want any of your children to suffer. I don't want to suffer either. And a lot of people I'm costing a lot of people money. A lot of people are really pissed off at me. And now I get why. And I'm losing my fucking mind here. Are you fucking kidding me right now? Are you serious? Like, no way, dude. The same way that somebody, like, when I started going to church at Bernie's with Bernie's ministry, I was told some things, and I'm like, no, man, I'm a drunk of a woman. I came from nothing. Like, you've got the wrong guy. You've got the wrong guy. I'm looking for understanding, not revenge. Understanding breeds compassion. I don't care if people think I'm a drug addict whore. I mean, yeah, it's not the highlight of my life. But if God said, hey, at the beginning of this, you asked for me to open the doors to Satan himself, that's going to cost you something. That might have just, your ass was it. Really? If that's how we're going down, let them call me a freaking whore till kingdom come. Because there's a lot of good people that don't. There's a lot of good people that get wrapped up in bad shit. And this is, like, I saw this as the opportunity of a lifetime. I'm all jacked up, I'm going nuts. But, like, parts of me are like, oh, my God. I yelled at this guy. This guy was like, well, I'm a satanic sex god. Like, well, why do I gotta be a Christian prude? I want to redefine sexuality for women and Christian women. And now, no way am I going to say, well, God just told me to go have orgies. No. But in this particular case, my ass was a sacrifice. And for whatever reason, God said, these two men that you think are trying to kill you are, like, I'm going to use them to help you heal from some things. And it's just a mind fuck. Any way you look, there's nobody that would understand how I feel or what I've been through. but it's the end of the world. It's the apocalypse. I'm like, leave me alone. I'm fighting the battle of Megiddo here. Like, this is insanity. And all these people that want to, she shouldn't talk about God, her cursing. Well, all of these pastors that have been watching me and talking shit about me, not one has picked up a phone. Not even you. And it may very well not be safe to do so right now. I don't know. I'm scared to even talk about this article. I'm like, what is this? Why is God showing me this? What does this have to do with me? I spent a night at a motel, crying and singing worship songs and blessing Hagar, because all of a sudden I was like, wow, that was your spirit with me, wasn't it? I was terrified. And I really want to know, is this her child? Is this man that's being tormented and tortured and abused to no ends relentlessly, to the point where they're keeping him alive with machines to continue torturing and tormenting his body? Is that her son? Is that their Muhammad? Is that what they're trying to do to me? I love you. Please be safe. Please take care. And I will always thank God for you. For the way that you think, for the way that you show up, for the way that you challenge things, for the way that you wanted to love, that you wanted to buy an abandoned church and make it something special. And I put a post about that as it was happening on an online journal that I didn't know it was run by satanic occultists. I don't know why I could write a paper on Paul and the Corinthians and unconditional love, and one of those ladies from our church wrote me a $350 check right on the spot and said, you need to keep and take your next course. I'm like, all I did was read a paper. What are you even talking about? Like, I don't understand. Like, I don't understand why you're giving me $350. You don't even know me. She wrote a check on the spot in that class right after. I'm like, all I did was write a paper and read it. What on earth? I watched the video. Like, what did they see? Like, what happened? I don't know anything. Like, I just want to know, like, there's about to be a shitstorm. And I don't know if I'm prepared for this. Are you kidding me right now? I'll tell you what. If I become a billionaire, if there's anything you or your family need, I got you. I got you. Because Jesus loves you. Thank you. Be well. Be bold, be brave, be daring. Sin big or go home. Right? Right? We're gonna sin big, sin big. Never thought I'd become a porn star. I will definitely go down in history. Thank you. I love you.